Are you ready to learn how to become a marketing virtual assistant? Now, in my last video, I talked about how to become a social media manager VA, and I wanted to make one especially for those who might want to focus a lot on the social media aspect and want to be in the marketing aspect. So I want to cover that first. So what is the difference between a marketing VA and a social media VA? And it's basically down to this. Social media VA, you are in charge of kind of the front lining of it all, of like making sure that they're Facebook, their LinkedIn, their TikTok, their YouTube, everything else is taken care of. You're making the content for them. Versus for marketing, you're kind of on more the overarching. Like I saw it the other day where someone described it well, where when you are a social media manager, you are taking care of the living room basically of a house, of like welcoming them in, getting them through. Well, when you're a marketing VA or a marketing manager, you are more focused on getting them to actually take action on the things that the social media manager set up. So then for you, you're getting them conversions, you're getting those engagement. So as a really good example of a day-to-day for a marketing manager, you are taking care of marketing campaigns, maybe you're writing out emails, blog posts, all that other stuff that for the social media manager, they will promote basically for other people to look at. So hopefully that makes sense, because honestly the first step of becoming a marketing VA is to just build your expertise. It's just learn what a marketing VA does and picking and choosing which ones you want to be an expert in. So as a really good example, there are funnel marketing VAs, those who are using things like Kajabi, Go High Level Marketing, those who are using ClickFunnels, they are a funnel marketing VA. They're focused on getting people through a funnel, for example, that a client would make. And as an example for you, for Twixu, our funnel is that we have our social media manager in Twixu who's freaking amazing. And then for them, it's again making sure that the content are being pushed out to social media, so on and so forth. But then once people go through, when they see maybe a post about us of like, hey, take our 2XU scorecard, of like, hey, download our PDF on 200 tasks you can delegate to a virtual assistant, then that person will take action. Then it shifts over from the social media manager to the marketing manager, which at this point, honestly, is me, just because I do love marketing. And it basically leads them through a funnel that we have set up of if they take the scorecard, we get their email, we get their name, then we're able to follow up with them later. If they grab the lead gen, it's the same thing, the 200 tasks. They're going to go ahead and give us their information, so later on we can follow them up and hopefully get them on a sales call with me. So that's what a marketing funnel is you have all of these different channels. That's why it's called a funnel, because you have these different channels on top that get a lot of attention, and then you got a lot of people who will show interest, and then they will take action on something, and then hopefully get them to the point where they're now into your sales funnel. So a marketing funnel comes first before the sales funnel, and that's where you come in as the marketing VA, is you help set up all of those funnels. And then at the very top, again, it's a social media manager pushing everything out, but you're setting up blog posts, you're setting up email campaigns, basically making sure that once a person signs up for something, there is a nurturing campaign to get them warmed up and excited to work with you. So for example, in Twixu, we have something that's written out where we're pushing this out soon, where we have a 6-month marketing plan of getting people warmed up and excited to work with Twixu. So that's what I mean by when you are a marketing VA, you're kind of looking at the overarching of like, you're giving the social media manager things to promote, but at the same time, they're the ones pushing people into the funnel so then you can get started in doing your best work. So when it comes to building your expertise, you want to look at what are the different things that for you, as you're trying to maybe specialize in marketing VA or in one area or the other, or you're more of a general marketing VA, what that looks like day to day for you. So this could be looking for mentors, looking at other YouTubers maybe who are walking you through a day of their life or how they do their service for their client. So whatever this looks like for you, it could be whole scope, but you're trying to feel out basically and figure out like, hey, do I want to be a funnel marketing VA? Do I want to be an email marketing funnel VA? Whatever that looks like for you, it's building your expertise of what makes sense for you. Throughout this video, I'm going to talk about being a general marketing VA, where you're taking care of the small things in the client's business to keep it running, but maybe not growing right away. Because the next step is knowing what works. So I just give you guys a ton of examples of how I work as a marketing manager within my own business and how other people have supported me as well in creating a lot of these campaigns. But knowing what works is again looking at how other people are currently doing it through maybe interviewing them, setting up a coffee with them, like, hey, I'll buy you coffee. I just really want to know what it's like to become a marketing VA, or what your day-to-day looks like. It's looking at what other people are offering and what actually works, not just looking at their website, but maybe looking at the clients that they have and what that funnel looks like. It's something that I call reverse niche hacking or funnel hacking. It's basically I go through other people's funnels and look at what works and then get the best practices and use them for myself. And a lot of people do that. And again, that's in building your expertise. It's in knowing what works. So then for you, you gain more examples, you gain more confidence in doing what it is that you do. And honestly, in when I was really hard into marketing, we call it having swipe files. So swipe files are basically, if you've heard of it before, is a collection of copy or other marketing materials from other people, and you've swiped it so you have an example and something to go through. Success always leaves clues. You don't have to start from scratch, especially as a marketing VA. So you can start looking at what has worked for other people, so you can start implementing it within your own practices and later on as you get clients. Next is, I really recommend that you learn how to build campaigns. So when you're a marketing VA, again, you're from that zoomed out view of what other people will start looking at and doing and taking action on to be able to get them through your funnel. So learning how to build campaigns is one of the key skills of honestly becoming really good at what it is that you do. It's learning how to have a vision. So instead of your client telling you what to do, you're telling them what to do, what the plan is, what the strategy is, because you're learning how to build these campaigns. So it's a really good example. So I have a book that I'm coming out for this week. It's called Scale You. For me, I am a marketing nerd. I love it. I could hire a marketing manager for sure, 100%. I probably should. But for me, I love planning out these campaigns. So for me, I know that at the beginning, I want to be able to launch my podcast first. So even before launching the book, I'm launching a podcast. Before launching the podcast, I'm already talking about like, hey, I'm thinking about this name on my podcast. This is what my campaign looks like. Like, hey, who should be a guest on my podcast? Refer them in my posts below of like, hey, here's a PDF of the questions that we'll ask on the podcast. Hey, here's the brand kit for the podcast. So I'm slowly easing people in on the idea of like, thinking, whenever they think of Leanne, they'll think of like, hey, Leanne has a podcast. And then eventually, once I have the book, I have this 28-day launch program that I have built up in my head of how to get people to sign up for the pre-order, how to get freebies done, how to get like bonuses and all of these things. Because again, for me, I have learned how to build a campaign. Now, a main person that I have followed a lot of his advice is the Product Launch Formula by Jeff Walker. And when I was honestly still very fresh as someone who was managing marketing for a publishing company before I had to XU, I gobbled up every single thing about this. And this has honestly been my framework for a lot of the things. Other than that, I have learned it also from reading the book Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. I've also read 100 Million Offers and 100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozi. So I have had all of these resources. And again, success leaves clues. I have all of these books and courses that I've gone through to basically master how to run campaigns. And for you as a marketing VA, it's going to be a key skill, because once you are able to learn strategy, everything else is just puzzle pieces that you're bringing together. For me, because I learned strategy when I was 20, basically, on marketing, I am able to, even as TikTok come out, YouTube Shorts, Reels, everything else, I just see them as puzzle pieces that I can bring into my strategy. Because I know how to build a strategy, I just put in everything else and plug it in and have everything else run. So that's what I mean. Learn how to run marketing campaigns. Next is you do need to master analytics. Very similar to a social media manager role, is you need to learn what works and what doesn't. Maybe if you've done marketing for one industry for a while and you've started to venture out to the other, one thing that might work here might not work here. This is why it's important to learn your numbers, to learn what converts, what actually gets people to take action, what actually gets people to go through the rest of your funnel, and what is also the feedback from the people once they go through the funnel. Like, did they enjoy it? Did they know that they were being led on? Or was the content or the things that you created within your campaign something that just dragged them in and they were excited to get started right away? So this is why learning how to read numbers, looking at like, hey, how many people from this campaign that we ran actually became converted? And like, hey, how many people actually we lost? And what were the reasons that we lost these people? So it's learning how to look at the numbers so you can make actually active decisions moving forward to just know if you're on the right track or if you need to pivot and start basically a different campaign. Next is you want to start creating your portfolio. So what I mean by this is a portfolio is a proof of work that you've already done. So with this, you might offer your services for free if you've never done it before, or you might do it for yourself. That's basically what I did. Is I was marketing my own book, my own fiction book at that time. I'm launching a nonfiction book. It's a whole story. But basically, when I was launching my own fiction book and I was learning how to run campaigns, that was part of my portfolio. I was able to show other people like, hey, this is how I planned it. This is how I set up this sequence. This is how I set up like this social media post, so on and so forth. So then I'm building out a way for people to know how results working with me looks like before they even work with me. And that was for me just for fun because I already had a full-time job at that point. But for me, I was still building up my portfolio, and I still am to this day. Even though I have my own business, I have ways to show people that what I do works. So that's what I mean by build your portfolio, is launch mini campaigns, maybe work with a local business. They can do it for them for free just because they're close enough and you can experiment, and they might not have their own way of marketing themselves. So building up your portfolio is also building up your confidence, so you will make the mistakes early on, and instead of like working 6 months later with someone and you're not even sure what you're doing. So it's building that like, hey, this is what I do, this is the results that I can bring for other people. Next is you want to find clients that you know. So it's not just going into onlinejobs.ph or LinkedIn or Google Jobs, and you can find jobs there. And if for the people who are always asking, where can I start finding jobs? LinkedIn, onlinejobs.ph, and Google Jobs. Those are 3 still really good places. Yes, they're high competitive, but at the same time, people rarely follow up. That's your key thing, is follow up with people you apply for, so then you can get the response later on. But if you want to find work specifically as a marketing VA, you want to start working with people that you know. What I mean by this is you want to work with people who you can experiment with and try different things. So it could be brands that you already like. It could be companies that you bought something from and you really like their product, but they don't have really good marketing, so you want to work with them. Because with this, you can start building things from where you are now, where you know. You can start building that confidence of like, hey, yeah, I love your Kindles. I love, or let's make it specific. I love your, Kindle covers. I would love to create a marketing campaign with you where we work with influencers, where we do this email campaign, so on and so forth. Because you already love their product, it's going to be easy for you to be able to start creating a campaign for them. Plus, you're also giving them a really good compliment that you know that this will work because you are their target audience, so on and so forth. So this is what I mean by find clients that you know. Look at the products that you love. Look around your house and find if they don't really have a strong marketing, especially for local brands or for those who have been doing it by themselves. You can start offering your services as a marketing VA with a mini plan to get started. So then for them, they don't feel overwhelmed of where to start with a marketing VA in the first place, but then you're already giving them a plan that you can follow. Next, and this is a key thing, is to start getting referrals. So let's say you've been doing campaigns for different people. You might not be an ongoing part-time or full-time employee with them yet. You can start asking them like, hey, if you refer so-and-so, the next campaign with me is like 10% off, or you'll get a referral fee for every person that you refer to me for a campaign, so on and so forth. Basically, whatever that looks like for you, it's important that you start getting word of mouth going versus like just pushing all out on your own marketing, because that's how you start getting people who know each other. That's how you get people who want to stay, mostly because they know that this works for their friend. You already have that social proof to be able to keep going and getting more and more referrals. Now, the next step is making sure that you get testimonials from these people that you work with. Even if it's just a screenshot of an email that they sent, even if it's just a quick video or an audio even, and you just put basically the words into a video that you can push out, make sure that you start gathering feedback and testimonials from the people that you work with, because of course this just builds more and more of your authority. Next is you want to start building and creating your documentation. So you want to create a document of like how you build campaigns. This is how you write blog posts. You're basically creating a recipe book for yourself and for other people as well on how you do the things that you do. So later on, once you start maybe outsourcing or building your own business or your company, it's going to be a little bit easier for you because you already have written down ways of how you do certain things. And honestly, it's one of the easiest way that you can scale yourself as a marketing VA is if you have written documentation of how you do things. So then it's easier every single time that you do it. It doesn't feel like you're reinventing the wheel. You're leaving yourself clues of your success for your future self. And lastly, of course, build your profile. This is a key thing, especially if you're marketing VA and you're not able to push yourself and be confident of marketing yourself. It's going to be a little bit hard for people to know who you are and trust that you know what you're doing. So what I mean by building your profile is build up your LinkedIn profile. Build and maybe create like YouTube videos like I do. Get yourself to the point where you're confident to talk about the things that you're doing, because the more that you do it, honestly, is you think of other ideas that you never thought of before, and you get feedback from other people as well. In the last 4 years that I've been creating YouTube videos on how to become a virtual assistant, how to hire virtual assistants, I've gotten so many really good ideas from building kind of a mini community around my YouTube channel and everything else that I have going on, that I have been so grateful that I've been able to do this for the last 4 years myself. So that's why I really encourage that you build out your profile, who you are, a persona of yourself basically that you're showing up on video on, or text, on blog posts, or if you're doing podcasts. But the key thing here is, again, you're showing your expertise. You're showing that you know what you're doing. I guarantee 10 out of 10, the TikTokers basically who talk about their path as a marketing VA, social media marketing VA, or VA themselves, they get people who are inquiring because they know what it is that they're doing. And the people who are coming and needing them are people who have no idea what they're doing. They're solopreneurs, they're burnt out, they're just trying everything that they can to have a sustainable business basically. So as you are able to show up and tell them like, hey, I know what I'm doing, I've been doing this for a while, then you are showing up as the expert. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below, what kind of marketing VA are you? I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those 2 playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!